Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jenny Chess and welcome back to Spooktober Day 28. So this is the end of the fourth week of October. Well, not really technically the end of the week, but more like first week is day 1 to 7, week 2 is day 8 to day 14, and then week 3 is day 15 to 21. And then week 4 will be 22 until 28. And we just cleared those, right? Well, not really cleared those after this one, probably, right? But yeah. And after that, week 5, I guess, the injury time will be 3 days until 31st. Um, Honestly, I've been feeling great so far, despite of kinda getting overwhelmed by the amount of videos that I need to make into posting into these channels anyway. I don't really mind the quantity over quality. The reason why is because I want more stuff first in this channel. You know, like like basically like the old school ones, right? Like you have a lot of videos, right? And then as your channel grows, then you can probably consider more quality instead of quantity, right? um but yeah, I guess there's that. I feel really great doing all this Spooktober stuff. It's still 28, day 28. Maybe I will say about that in 31st, like the last day. I would say how I feel. But yeah, for now, let's go to discussing today's discussion, which is missing person. Also, I recorded this video after the previous one. I just took a little bit of break, like 10-15 minutes for coffee break. And yeah, just do more basically. As you can see, it's now almost 11 a.m. and I'm currently kind of sweating in my room. My room is getting warm right now. I'm not sure why. Also, it's supposed to be like in the transition between dry season to wet season, rain season basically, right? Which will occur for the next 6 months. So like it's kind of in the transition for that, and that's why probably the weather gets really intense, especially during this time. It's very warm over here. Wow. And behind me or beside me is the window, and I can take a look right now. I know you guys cannot look outside just yet. Like, I'm kind of not ready for that, right? But I can tell you or make description of that. It is just hot. There are some clouds in the air, which is always nice, right? In the sky, I mean, not in the air. Um, but it's really hot right now. Yeah, it's just full sun, and I'm sweating bullets right now. I can technically use the AC, but I choose not to because I don't want um the electricity bills to rise up, right? Just because of me. Like maybe in the future, if this channel grows already, like I have the fun for it, then I can basically um like make proper equipment for the recording, right? But anyway, let's actually go to the missing person over here. Last time we talked about home invasion, right? Now we're talking about missing person. It's just as spooky as that. um I'm gonna give you this fact. The fact is that the amount of people that existed, that are now existing in the earth or on earth, let's say the amount of number is x, right? That's like what's recorded, right, on paper, and the fact that actually the amount of that is actually x minus stuff. Like basically it's not as much as what is recorded, which is actually really weird, right? Because we have some missing person. So yeah, like it's just crazy that people can be considered as existed on paper, but in reality, like people have gone missing, right? For days, for weeks, and like not even not everybody knows, right? If there's person missing or not, especially if the person doesn't really have any family or relatives close by. So like they can just leave one day and never came back, and people will not notice, right? So yeah, missing person. I can only assume that this page will basically talk about the crimes, right? Of kidnapping people, like missing person. Um, I'm not sure if there will be like topics that discuss about, like alien abduction or something like that, right? I don't think so. Yeah, but I feel like there will be a lot of missing person, honestly. And then I have kind of mentioned this in the cave episode as well, that I think I saw it somewhere in the internet. People make correlation between the location of missing people and the location of the U.S. underground tunnel, like unexplorable tunnel, right? And the location of people missing and the location of the tunnel actually matched up. So it kind of is a little bit interesting. Not interesting, but more like terrifying, right? Because then people can just from that graph. I don't know if the data is real or not, but just from the picture, it just makes you think that these people are gone and got somewhat murdered or something like that, and their corpse is like basically like got hidden underground, right, in those tunnels, right? So yeah, it's a little bit terrifying if you ask me. And like just maybe this will work. Just search the image of missing person versus tunnels in the US, and I think you will see the pictures. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess probably that will show up just by that keyword. um and yeah, it's quite terrifying, right? You can just make think that you can just think that simply that these missing people are down there in the tunnels, right? Which is quite terrifying. But yeah, a missing person or is a person who has disappeared and whose status as alive. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. There is. Oh, never mind. There is actually I have a lot of what is it called again? Ticks in manifestation, I would say, from my cats. Yes, my cats. I mean, my cat. I only have one cat now. My cat has a lot of ticks. And it's just like she likes to sleep on the bed, right? And right now I'm on the bed, and there's just some of them, and like just biting me all over. Like yeah, it's just quite crazy. Might have to do some uh thick bath, I would say. I don't know what it's called again, right? Like the specific bath for cats to remove their ticks, right? Or lice, I would say, whatever you call that. Termites, I don't know, like ticks basically. And yeah, I might want to consider that. Anyway, where were I again? Okay. Whose status as alive or dead cannot be confirmed as their location and condition are unknown. Yeah, this also makes it a little bit difficult for people that record this kind of stuff, right? Like I said, um, maybe the amount of people are X, but in reality, because of this missing person, then technically the amount of people are X minus Y, right? Y is the amount of missing people. So, like there's more people on paper than actually people that are recorded, right? Because again, like they can't really confirm if they're still alive or dead, right? Therefore, they might consider them as alive, but like in reality they're probably already long gone, right? Because they are missing. Um and yeah, that's why probably they are still counted when in reality they shouldn't be, right? But yeah, a person may go missing through a voluntary disappearance or else due to an accident, crime, death in location where they cannot be found, such as at sea or many other reasons. In most parts of the world, a missing person will usually be found quickly. While criminal abductions are some of the most widely reported missing person cases, this account for only 2 to 5% of missing children in Europe. Oh, Europe, interesting. I thought it would be US, but okay. Um, yeah, first it will be like such as at sea. I guess when people just I guess like fishermen or something like that, right? Maybe people that lives alone again in the shore or something like that, and they went for fishing in the sea, and one day they just didn't show up, right? Until a long time that people start to notice, oh, where's that guy that usually is there? Why is he not existing anymore, right? And yeah, stuff like that, right? Maybe they died at the sea and their corpse cannot be found just simply because they degrade in the sea and then the fish start to eating them, right? Um, Again, which is terrifying, right? As well as when like there is this accident back then, which is the airplane that went missing, right? Although they can technically check the like the list of the passengers, right? Which is gone missing, and then they also like probably like I don't know, like how many people in there, they can't really tell as well, right? Maybe like people who hijack the airplanes, like there's two, there's three, who knows, right? Because the entire thing gone missing, right, at the sea. Maybe there's actually more than five people who knows, right? Um, but yeah, like by that I mean maybe they enter the airplane without any, like without any like without no one noticing. That can be the thing as well, right? Although nowadays CCTV is already a thing, but still maybe they just like invade the airplanes without getting noticed, right? So there you go. Maybe inside the luggage as well, like maybe the person is still there when previously like in between use of airplanes as well, right? Like there's so much stuff that can be made up here, right? Like as assumption. So yeah. Anyway, that's the sea, and then in most parts of the world, missing person will usually be found quickly. Yeah, it's because here in my country, like it is very rare in case that one person is not recognized by everyone. It's very rare. Like if you existed in this country, in my country, you will at least have one other person that notice you, that knows you, right? Either your family, your friends, your neighbor, your relatives, or something like that. But there's always one person that knows you. um so like in the uh, easy example, you eat outside, right, in the Home Depot or something like that, and the seller of the food, the owner of the depot, knows you, right? Like you go here every day, right? Like it becomes your habit, it becomes your culture, and one day you don't show up in the Home Depot, then the owner of the Home Depot um, will be a little bit curious, right? Like what happened to you, right? So they started to maybe like call you or something like that, visit your house. I don't know, right? And then they start notice, right? Um, and yeah, that's just one of the simple example, as well as in rural area as well, because we talked about this in the previous video. In my country, in the village area, like everyone knows who lives in that area, which is interesting, right? Like if your family has five members, then your neighborhood knows that you have five members, and potentially your pets as well. Like if you have two cats or one dog, or like three birds, your neighbor also knows that, right? Even to your pets as well. So like stuff like this, like if like if one of them went missing, then it's quite noticeable. So yeah, there's that. um I also talk about this in the haunted house as well. Like the old man that lives 5 blocks away from my house, right? That eventually died without anybody noticing, right? And the first person that start to become curious is actually the person that sells bread to the old man. They ask the neighbor where he went, and the neighbor also start to become curious as well, and therefore the corpse is found was found in the house, right? And it becomes something. It's actually quite a massive story, I would say, in my neighborhood. Although that's not really the only time that like people died in the house. There is also like again four house, I think, next to me. So before the old man's house, there is also another house that there is a fire over there, like house fire, and the person actually, unfortunately, they were sleeping, right? So when the house was on fire, they basically passed in the fire as well, and like still on the bed, right? Possibly still sleeping. So it's just crazy, right? And then there's also another story as well, like I would say like 7 or 10 houses away from me, 10 blocks away, and the person died to COVID, the pandemic back then, in 2020, I would say. And like it's wild, basically, or I would say, I think 2021, honestly, last year. And yeah, it's just crazy how many people actually died in house in my neighborhood. It's really crazy, but it is what it is, right? There you go. There's at least three. Although I think there is more, but um, yeah, there is more actually. My neighbor, like direct to me, to the right of my house, their grandmother, I would say, they kind of passed away as well, but in hospital, fortunately, right? So like, so there's nothing that is a little bit too scary or something like that, right? But yeah. Anyway, I've gone tangent that time with all the stories behind, like in my nearby neighborhood. It's just crazy, but it is what it is. Anyway, by contrast, some missing person cases remain unresolved for many years. I think, yeah, there's actually a lot of videos on YouTube that talks about this missing person over here. Um, like the case that never get resolved, like someone actually went missing for years and without being noticed, right? Also, there's also a story as well. This is actually quite terrifying. There is, I don't remember the exact story, but it is like there is a hotel or apartment or something like that with a lot of residents, right? Somehow, someday, one day the building collapsed or something like that, killed many people inside it, right? And it's quite terrifying. If I know about this is actually very terrifying, actually. Like, let's say the amount of people lived in the building is 100, right? So yeah, they after the incident, they recount all the corpses, and there is 100, right? Like full bodies, like the heads, arms, 100 pairs of arms and legs. However, um it doesn't end there. It's actually quite creepy that they found an extra part of human body, and they're not sure who that part belongs to, but they are sure that it's human body, right? Because yeah, it's quite terrifying if you ask me, because there are only 100 people in that building. However, they found more than 100. So whose part is that, right? Like, um like telling that story already makes me goosebumps. Although it's 11:15 in the morning, it still gives me goosebumps, talking about that. Anyway, I think there's lots of YouTube videos that tells about these kinds of stuff. So I recommend you to check that out, like all about this missing person. um but yeah, uh okay. Formal death certificate issued. Okay. Yeah. A number of organizations seek to connect, share best practices, disseminate information and images of missing children to improve the effectiveness of missing children investigations, including ICMEC, okay, ICMP, okay. Okay, so this is in the US, in the UK, Belgium, okay, and Greece. Oh, that's actually, yeah, it's great, right? That people make this, I guess, for missing children. Yeah, like missing and exploited children, right? So it's also like, I would say it's there's a story over here in my country as well, that in the crossroad there's like a lot of people that not really begging for money, but more like they play guitar and ask for money for from the like vehicles that stop at the crossroads, right? While the traffic is red, and a lot of them includes kids, right, and children. And like one time in the past, um, because there's a lot of children, therefore the authorities start to like raise suspicion, right? Like it becomes suspicious, I would say. And then it turns out that there is the adult that they actually exploited these kind of children, like these orphan kids basically, and they exploited them to work in the crossroads to beg for money, right? And like since then I don't think there's the case like this anymore, although I believe that there still existed, um although not a lot, but I believe still there as well. Like there is this boss, right? That this gangster, basically the leader of this gangster, that they just like exploit people. I would say like people, unfortunate people, right? Like people who have no money, who have no job, who have no house and stuff like that, no families as well, no relatives, and they don't have hopes, right? And they have to basically join this gangster, I would say. And like at least they can live, right, with the money. And in trade for that, then the leader of the gangster told them to um find money in the crossroads, right, which is again messed up, right? But I don't think it's like as many case as now as then, I would say, nowadays anyway, because the social department or ministry of social society or something like that, they already like um they try their best to find these people, right? And then they put them in like institutional, I would say, like so that at least they have house, right? And then they can do something productive there. But still, people that are under the radar, they still do this kind of stuff. And I believe that reasons, okay, so this is probably the reasons as to why people went missing, right? People disappear for many reasons. Some individuals choose to disappear, okay. For others, disappearance is an advertent, e.g. getting lost, or it is imposed on them abduction or imprisonment. Reasons for disappearance may include to escape domestic abuse, okay. So I guess because they like protect themselves, I guess they ran away. And then leaving home to live in an unknown place under a new identity, okay. So like change your name or something like that, right? I don't know why people do this. Let me know down, like just give me your opinions about why people like living in new identity, right? Like why do you change your name, why you live in other place? Well, maybe it's because you probably do something bad in the old place, probably, or you just want to live by yourself, unrecognizable in new environment. That's also a possibility, right? Like you want to leave your past behind, right? Therefore you declare yourself new identity, right? Which is possibility as well, I guess. I don't know the legality of that, like um how to do that with the law, right? Like I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, give me your opinion about that in the comments down below, or the fact about that, like changing identity, right? Becoming the victim of kidnapping, obviously, right? Like but then again, usually if you got kidnapped, then people like your friends, your relatives, will know about this eventually, right? Like you didn't show up for works for days now. Your boss start to worrying about you. They called you. They visited your house or something like that. And then maybe there's like a trace of kidnaps or something like that, right? And then the police came into investigation, and I would say like most of the case will get resolved and knows who kidnapped you, right? Children as well, um, it's also quite not really common, but I would say it kind of happened as well when children like they went to school and go back home by themselves. They went to school, but they never really arrived at school, right? And then they went home supposedly in the time, and then they never came home. And then the parents became to worry, and then they called the school. However, the school said that they never got into the class in the first place that day, right? So it became the the panic, right? Like they never reached the school in the first time, so the school don't know anything about it, right? So yeah, it becomes escalated quickly, I would say. Anyway, child abduction by a non-custodial parent or other relative. Okay, so this is basically complete stranger, I guess, that um, hey kid, you want some candy? And then the kids being innocent, then they said yeah, and then they enter the car, and then they just ran away, right? But then again, stuff like this usually leaves trace as well, because they do this in the school area, right? Like pretending to be the parents, right? And there's always CCTV about this, right? Like surrounding the school anyway these days anyway. And then in the road as well, I think. Well, at least in my country, the government already gives like CCTVs in almost every crossroads, like big crossroads. There's already CCTV, so they can track your license plate and stuff like that, and where you're heading, where you're from. Maybe if you're lucky, then the CCTV will capture the time, like who kidnapped these children, right? But yeah, I guess there's not really a common case about child abduction nowadays anyway. Like you will get caught immediately because like the advanced technology anyway. It's makes it difficult for it to happen, which is great, right? It means you can have your child safe, right? In school anyway, like despite of the drama, I would say not really drama, but more like when like the thing that happened in 2022, right? Like random shooting in school as well, which is very unfortunate, right? Like yeah, that's just so bad, right? Anyway, let's continue. Seizure by federal authorities, military, law enforcement, government. Okay, so forced disappearance. Okay, so basically like I would say like when you do something bad, like I mean real bad for the country, like maybe you're hacking or something like that, and things that actually make your country looks bad, right? Like I don't know, like maybe you do corruption, you steal information from the like the country or something like that. Then yeah, like the federal authorities can just basically like swoop in your house, right? Without anyone or your neighbor to notice about that, right? And suddenly you're gone, and like your neighbor never talk about you anyway, right? Like they just maybe pretend like um not pretend, but more like they probably told that you moved to somewhere else, right? But instead, you're no longer to be seen anymore, which is again very crazy, right? But then again, if you are being a good citizen, then these kinds of stuff will not happen, right? So yeah, be a good citizen, basically, be good people, and you'll have to worry about these kinds of stuff. And then this one as well in remote location. I mean, that's just like obviously, right? Like like if you're giving up on life and then you just chose to go somewhere else, not to be seen anymore, ever seen. So that's also a possibility, right? And then victim of murder as well, like there's a lot of cases as well, right? Like people got murdered and then their corpse got stored in the basement of the certain house, I would say. There's a lot of case like this as well. There's a lot of videos of this, I would say, in the like in YouTube as well. And then mental illness, okay, as Alzheimer disease can cause people to forget where or who they are. um However, this is not, I would say, not really a case of you went missing, because there's still the documents on paper, right? Like you still have your identity card at least. Maybe you got your fingerprint, like stored, like your identity in the for the country to track you, like list you. So I don't think this is mainly the reason for that. I don't think so. Like maybe you have, like you still have families and relatives as well that can remind you of who you are, right? So yeah, I think this is more like not really a big of, I mean, it's still a big of deal, but not really in the term of missing person, right? Because technically you're not missing, you're just missing your memory of who you are, and that's about it. In this case of missing person, right? And then death by natural causes, accident far from her, without far from home, I mean, without it identification. That makes sense as well. Like maybe you went to I don't know, like you just, without noticing anyone, you go to other country, and then unfortunately there's like I don't know, like a landslide, I don't know, and then you die there, and then there's no records for you, right? Which can happen as well, like especially maybe like if it includes fire as well, and then your passport, your identity card got burned, so there's no track record for you, right? And then you know like no one in your country will realize this until sometime later, right? Like in the future as well, it's a possibility. Becoming lost accidentally in remote areas, this is also the same, right? Including when participating in outdoor recreation or labor, like hiking, mountaineering, hunting, etc. There's also a lot of story about people missing in the mountain, at least in my country as well. However, they will always be found later on, because again, like usually this one will be their family first, like like um they're supposed to come home, right, from hiking, and then they never come back home. And then like the family starts to worry, and then they went to the mountain and then ask for the locals, and they do see them hiking, right? But they never saw them coming down. So like, and then they began the investigation, search and rescue of in the mountain, and eventually they got found, right? So yeah, there's that. Still missing person, but eventually they will be found, right? But yeah, disappearance to take advantage of better employment or living conditions as well elsewhere. um I guess. But this thing, it says disappearance, right? Which is a little bit weird again. Maybe people don't really want to like their surroundings know where they live, under new or better life, right? Better employment, that's also makes sense. But then again, um at least for me, I will at least tell it to my family first, or like some of my friends, so that it's not really so that I don't just become missing person, right? Sold into slaveries, okay, this one is I guess this makes sense back then, but I don't think nowadays. Maybe there's still some people, like got like human trafficking, basically, right? That's still a thing anyway. Now, I guess there's that. to avoid discovery of a crime. Oh, so this is basically after you do bad crimes and then you just make yourself disappear, right? Like maybe fake your death or something like that, right? It also makes sense, I guess. Joining a cult or other religious organizations, this one actually might be um, it will be a little bit difficult to conduct unless it is in rural, remote area, right? Where there is no, yeah, like no contact to the outside world. So this might be possible. Um, like if you're a tourist to like let's say Amazon, right? You go to Amazon and like the actual Amazon rainforest, right? And then like maybe who knows there's tribes there, and then you got converted, I guess. I mean, it's not only Amazon. Let's say any other place as well, right? Just for the sake of example, and then you join this and you never to be seen again. To avoid war or persecution during okay, so this probably is back then during World War era. Then like to basically you don't want basically you're saving yourself. I guess this is great. You make yourself missing, right? So that these people that are in your area that do war, they don't kill you, right? Maybe you hide in the bunker, maybe you hide elsewhere, right? Who knows? But yeah, I guess you just make yourself missing, right? I guess that's that. It's a great, at least, to escape from these kinds of stuff, right? As consequence of war, missing in action, imprisonment, collateral damage. Actually, in World War II, I believe there's actually a kids, I would say, like a pair of kids, and then they later they got separated, right? But later, like when they're old, I think they got reunited again. But after they went for so long, right? They're already like 60s, 70s years, right? And then they found each other, but they still remember, right? I think there's a story like this as well in my country. I kind of forgot, to be honest, but it's there actually. It's real, like because of the World War, you got separated with your siblings. However, as time goes on, you just forget, right? Like you thought your siblings died, and then your siblings thought you died, and then like you you just moved on, right? And however, one day you got reunited back, which is possible, right? To escape famine or natural disaster, I guess missing person. I'm not really sure about this one. Like the main reason, maybe it's one reason, like like the bottom list of the reasons, right? Death by floods, flash floods, debris flows, hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes. This is also a possibility as well, especially if it's about tsunami in the shore area. Like you're not sure how many people were there, right? Like there's really no records on people there. So like if you got carried to the floods, I would say, like the stream, then people will probably not notice you missing until sometime in the future, right? Like again, maybe your friends, relatives, and as like that. Death in the water with no body recovered is the same as in the sea as well. Aviation accident where no wreckage is found, or shipwreck where no wreckage is found. So this is also what we mentioned, right? About the airplane, basically, right? Like um we know how many passengers there, but we don't know how many people that hijack, right? So yeah, there's that. Categories of missing children. There's a lot of this as well, apparently. Runaways, parental abduction, non-parental abduction, missing. Okay, that's just a lot of. I think this is yeah, this just the categories for missing children. Legal aspects. Common misconception: person must be absent for at least 24 hours before being legally classed as missing, but this is rarely the case. Okay, so I guess there is more times, probably like 48 hours, maybe like they need to trace back first, right? Like the possibility of where these people went missing, therefore they can like then can be, I guess, listed as missing person. Okay, there is this one as well, September 11 attacks, which we covered last month, I think, during 9/11. Okay, searches. Okay, so Coast Guard probably in the sea area. fire department, mountain rescue. Yeah, like I said, right? Mountain rescue for people missing in the mountain, and then fire department is probably when people when like building collapse, right? Like like maybe house fire or something like that, and then they try to identify how many people or victims there, right? Okay. Um, this is as well that we already mentioned as well for children, like yeah, in US, UK, Belgium, and Greece, right? I also believe there's some organization as well in other countries, but it's not mentioned. So let me know if your country actually have these organizations specifically to investigate missing children. um, Media coverage, okay. I guess there's that. Okay, stranger kidnappings, international statistic and effort, okay. According to this, over 15,000 unaccompanied and separated children claim asylum in the European Union. Okay, there's that. Uh, yeah, it's just like in real life stuff, right? And try to, like basically try to prevent this stuff from happening, right? And then laws and statistics per country. Over 305,000 people were reported missing in Australia from 2008 to 2015, okay? Um, which is estimated to be 1% every 18 minutes. That's actually crazy in Australia. Wow, that's actually a lot of people missing. Like 18 every minute. That's just crazy. Canada, 60,582 missing children in 2007. Okay. Ireland, a monument to missing persons was unveiled in County Kilkenny, Ireland. Okay, the first monument of its kind in the world. So 2002, Jamaica. Okay, 150 reports of children who go missing every single month. Oh, that's just a lot of people. It means five every day, right? Because 30 days a month. Therefore, yeah, five children missing every day. That's actually crazy. Um, Japan, that 100,000 Japanese people disappear annually. 100,000, that's a lot of people. 365 days a year, so that's about 3,000, right? Or 300 people missing every year, which is crazy if you think about it. Okay, Johatsu refers to people who purposely vanish from their established lives without a trace. Oh, I guess that's their culture. Parts of it anyway. Not all of them probably. UK, okay. 140,000 children go missing each year. That's crazy. Again, almost 400 every day. Is that true? I don't know. United States, okay. How many is that? 161, okay, issued 203 children, okay. Okay, that's a lot of number over there. 161 cases, 23 to be hoax or unfounded. 92 familial abduction, 38 familial abduction, okay. As of early 2019, 11 were still missing and 7 were found deceased. Okay, that's very bad and unfortunate, right? Okay, so the study considered a child missing when the child's whereabouts were unknown to the primary caretaker, with the result that caretaker was alarmed for at least 1 hour and tried to locate the child. Oh, okay, so basically, I I don't know what kind of parents that need this. Basically, like every hour you'll be notified, I guess, that hey, you have children, are they still there? It's quite funny, but then again it's not, right? Because this is serious, it's serious issue, right? Maybe the parents or caretakers, they kind of forgot, right? Because they are busy with something else, and they don't like look out for their children, right? And I guess this is not really a joke, this is actually a serious thing. um 800,000 missing children estimated to have been reported. Uh, 1.3 million number is further broken down into 33,000 non-familiar. Okay, that's a lot of people, right? Crazy, honestly. But then again, US is like a very big country, like really big, right? Like it's just massive, and then there's a lot of amount of people as well. So yeah, I guess the number kind of makes sense if like if you see it from the side of amount of residents and then amount of people missing. Probably the percentage is, I don't know, right? I'm just talking this opinion. Like maybe the percentage is kind of the same or averagely the same for any other case, right? Yeah, lots of number there. Okay. European Union as well. Uh, okay. Estimates that about 1 in 5 children are victims of some form of. Okay, that's different story. But okay, child runaways reported by the okay. Of the 50 to 60%, 1 in 6 are assumed to rough sleep on the run. 1 in 8 resort to stealing to survive. 1 in 4 children are at serious risk. And yeah, so there you go, a fraction of that, which is still crazy, right? She also, but yeah, I guess that's it. Amber Alert, okay, there's a lot of this as well. Probably related to like all the prevention, right? And then like basically organization, I would say, for missing people, right? Specifically missing children. But yeah, the references, okay, and then the last will be external links. Okay, so yeah, there you go. um the reason why I talk about this is because last time we talked about home invasion, right? And then now we're talking about missing person. I guess there is still connection, right? Like you invade someone's house and then you abduct people as well, right? And then they went missing. So yeah, both are equally spooky, I would say. Yeah, like terrifying, right? This can happen to you, honestly. That's why I ask again. Have you locked your door and window every night? Are you sure about that? You might want to recheck that as well, right? Because all these kinds of stuff you don't want to happen, right? But yeah, I think I'll pay it for today's discussion. We already talked, like this has been like 45 minutes or something like that, almost 1 hour now. But yeah, we already talked like 45 minutes about this, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys get something. Like when I said something to leave a comment down below, really do it. I really want to know about your perspectives as well. But yeah, I guess this has been Spooktober day 28. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you again tomorrow with another discussion in day 29. Stay safe, stay healthy. Make sure to check your doors and windows every night. Make sure they are all locked. And I will see you again very soon and see ya.